Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're continuing with the mirror repair. Now the comments were really interesting. A lot of people said the first prototype of this looked like a bodge. Kind of agree, did look like a bodge. But then a lot of people said, well, it's nice to see somebody actually trying to fix something rather than just bolting on expensive parts to a bike. And that is a more boring video than trying to actually make something from scratch. Mark 1 was a mirrored piece of acrylic cut to the shape of the ST1100 mirror. It wasn't particularly like delicate or finessed. I scratched the surface of it and I also cracked the perspex. Somebody said, like Ed China when he was doing the bubble car, the canopy, they had one canopy and he was using cutting tools and he was doing it really carefully and it cracked. It was about 1,500 quid for that piece. I mean, luckily these are 6 quid each. It doesn't really matter if I break them. But somebody did say that. So let me introduce to you the Mark II. So the first thing I did was use like 5mm MDF and just made a little template. I'm still using the screw holes, but don't panic. The screw holes are still there, but this is the base layer. Then what I did, I got a 4mm sheet of aluminium. And this isn't the mirrored finish, so don't worry, but this is a base plate, a substrate for the acrylic to go onto. Because what we discovered the first time was when we bend the acrylic, it warps like a house of mirrors and it's really not suitable for a mirror. But I thought if I put it on an aluminium base, it's going to stay perfectly flat. And it mounted onto the back using 2 very thin headed bolts, so they're almost flush with the surface because they're countersunk. So that will have Loctite on. Bolt will go through there, and then I'm going to cut the acrylic now and put that over the top. So I'll see you in a second when I've cut the acrylic. Right, it's 2 days later. I've attached the perspex with some aldite to the aluminium base plate. Looking quite good. I'll just show you there. So that's the back where I've got the bolts going through. Probably trim the bolts, and then I've got a little piece of film over the mirror until the last moment, and I'll whip it off. So that is kind of going well. I'll show you something which isn't going as well. So the mirror itself looks good. What doesn't look so good is the mirror housing. So you've got this plastic housing, attaches to the bodywork with some push fittings. I tried to spray it to match the colour of the bike, which honestly hasn't really worked. Everybody else said, do it to match the front panel here. So you've got like a satiny black and the black, and it'll kind of look okay because it's easy to match that colour. Even my dad said you should have done it black. I didn't listen to anyone. I tried to colour match it and it basically didn't work. So I thought, this plan hasn't worked. So I'm going to double down on the plan that hasn't worked. I've been back to Halfords. Instead of using M4090, which is more of a reddy colour, I'm going to have to respray with this purple colour here, which is more of a match. This is M4060. So I went back in with Susie, and Susie being Susie, found this colour straight away. So if I'd gone in there with her the first time, probably wouldn't have had to buy a wasted spray paint and wasted my time. Right, the next update for you guys is the seat. Now, I opted to have the seat retrimmed for a few reasons. Number one, if I was to buy new and I throw the old seat away, I'm putting more plastic and non-recyclable material into the environment. Didn't want to do that. Number two, I think this is a 30-year-old bike or 28-year-old bike. It's kind of nice to have original parts that are restored, keeping the originality of the vehicle. 3 is a similar cost between having the seat restored and to buying a good used seat. It's about 70 quid. If you were to go and buy a new seat, you could be looking at 200, 300 quid for a new Pan European seat. Obviously, with this bike costing 600, I'm not going to buy a seat that costs 50% of the value of the bike. So it was a great idea, in theory. In practice, I went to the seat trimmers about 3 weeks ago, and he looked at the seat and said, yeah, I do loads of motorcycle seats over the years. This will be no problem. Just choose the material, I'll get it ordered, and then I'll give you a call when it's ready to be collected. So I thought, oh great. He said it's not going to take long. It'll take like a day. I'll do it around my other jobs. No problemo. So I thought, oh, I was quite proud of myself. This is brilliant. We'll have a perfect seat on the Pan. We'll have a non-standard colour. It'll be a bit interesting, make the bike look good. 2.5 weeks went by and I had no phone call. So I rang him at the start of this week. I rang him on Monday. It's now Thursday when I'm making this video. I said, oh, has the vinyl arrived? Have you got anything done on the seat? And he said, oh no, there was an issue with the stockist. It just hasn't come in. But they've assured me that it's going to come in tomorrow. So that was then Tuesday, he said it was coming in. So Wednesday came, I thought, right, I'm not going to chase him every day because that's a bit like over the top. So wait till Wednesday, rang him again, said, oh, did the vinyl turn up? And he said, oh no, they've assured me it's out for delivery, but it hasn't arrived. I was here all day and they've told me that it was a failed delivery, so it's gone back. So I'm getting a bit annoyed now. So I was like, oh, okay. I tried not to be, you know, negative on the phone. Oh, can you maybe let me know then as soon as it comes in? And he said, yeah, as soon as it comes in, I'll let you know. And it's now Thursday and I haven't heard whether the vinyl's arrived, and he's even started on the seat. So given that I was meant to be going, my plan was to go down to Europe on this bike at the end of August. It's now the 14th of August. I've not even ridden this bike on the road yet. We've got no seat. We haven't looked at the swinging arm, and we haven't finished the indicators and the mirrors and that kind of thing. And we haven't got a piece here, and we haven't got a pannier to go on the right-hand side. It's actually looking a bit tight for time. Right, next is a lesson as to why you should never buy a crash damaged or partially stripped bike. And the reason is you end up with a lot more little damaged or missing pieces than you anticipated for when you started the project. Now this bike is no exception. The previous owner, just before his bike got taken away for the insurance company and he got his payout, he whipped off the mirror covers because he knew they had some intrinsic value. And it's actually cost me £100 to have a pair of those and get them sprayed in what turns out to be not the correct colour. But it's cost me £100 to get to this stage with my mirror covers. He also removed a little piece of the loom here which goes from the bike loom, and it terminates in a little indicator bulb holder. So I thought, okay, right, another thing to find. Went online, looked at a Honda stockist, £36 or thereabouts for a little piece of wire here that holds an indicator bulb. So I thought, oh, you're joking me, that's just so annoying, £36 for a little piece of wire. I looked at my little housing unit here, which I'll just show you up close. You see there is a little mounting system in there, which has got 3 little lugs and 1 big lug. So I went on to my old favourite shop, AliExpress. I found this little piece here, I'll just show you again. This little thing here, just get my words confused, specifically to hold indicator bulbs, and then it actually matches perfectly with this, fits very snugly, and it's got little flanges here, so if I just use my fingers it locks into place, and it's rubber sealed for water tightness as well. So now all I need to do is I'm going to snip the loom there. I know, not ideal to cut a bike's loom, but this is a low value budget orientated project. So I'll just snip the bike's loom, solder those up. Halogen bulbs, I got 5 of them for again £1.50. So it means I've even got some spares, which is mandatory when you're traveling in France. Right, that is one done. Let's just do the test. Indicator bulb, hopefully you can see that. Yay. That's one more job done.